It's a little bit past 11 o'clock, and I want to open up this work session today so that we can exec 4 different bills. And I'm going to get right into the executing of these bills. And with that, I'd like to open an executive session on House Bill 241. And I would like to recognize Representative Rung for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move OTP on HB 241 FN.
Okay. Any quick discussion on it, or?
I think we heard some compelling testimony from the prime sponsor and the fact that alternatives to opioid pain treatment have been demonstrated, and there's years and years of evidence that they're very effective and less costly and non-addictive than opioids are. And the prime sponsor had worked with many different medical organizations, insurers, a wide group of stakeholders to that do support this, the elements of the bill. So I think it's something we should move forward.
Thank you. And I tend to agree with you on all those points. Is there any additional conversation? Okay. So with that, I'll ask, yes, Representative McGuire.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to commend the sponsor and the Commerce Committee for working through this bill so there's no impact, fiscal impact. We really shouldn't have had to deal with it, but we've got it.
Well, that's good. Better safe than sorry. So, yes, Representative Munns.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add is that, what this bill does is, the only thing it does is provide information on alternative pain treatments. It doesn't mandate any specific services. So I think that's a worthwhile objective.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further testimony, with that, I'll ask the clerk to do a roll call on the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the motion of ought to pass by Representative Rung, seconded by Representative McGuire. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Representative Munns.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes.
And I guess I skipped me, but that's all right. 6-0.
You gonna vote?
Oh, so I'm sorry. 7-0. I'm not with it today.
Okay, so with that, we passed the motion to OTP by a vote of 7-0. And I'll close out the executive session on House Bill 241. Okay, and I would like to open a executive session on House Bill 629. That's a bill that is about raising the cost of a boat decal fee and allocating funds collected by such fees to the dam maintenance fund. And with that, I would like to recognize Representative Leishman for a motion.
Move ought to pass.
Thank you, and I will second that motion. And would the representative like to speak to it at all?
I heard from Representative Ebel, who I guess introduced the bill at your work session, and the Dam Bureau folks were here. What I can add that this is a result of a long study that was done on the state's deteriorating dam situation. It's not everything that we wanted. I see someone from the Department of Environmental Services. Thanks for your testimony a week or two ago. It provides about $500,000 towards our dam maintenance fund, which is certainly not enough to take care of our problems, but it's a start. I guess that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. And I would add to the committee that there is a House bill that's with Ways and Means right now, House Bill 1655, that was going to try to raise funds for the dam maintenance by virtue of what's basically a property tax on the shoreline. And I don't think that people have an appetite for that. So I think it's important that we pass this bill here so that we at least have something going to the maintenance fund. Would anybody else like, yeah, it's Representative Munns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, we heard during testimony that the state of New Hampshire owns 275 dams. 64 of them are considered high hazard risk, at high risk, high hazard risk. And the estimated cost to address those maintenance problems is $300 million. So, you know, while this bill doesn't come close to providing the funding needed to address those challenges, it certainly is a step in the right direction, and you know, every little bit helps. So I hope everyone will support this.
Thank you. Representative McGuire.
Just as a side note, we didn't hear from any boat owners at our work session, but I talked to some of them. And since most of the boat owners realize they get a lot of the benefit from the dams because they use the lakes, they're, well, not happy, resigned to paying this. They don't strongly object to it, from what I was able to find out.
Yeah, I would agree, and it's, being a boat owner myself, it's a nominal fee, so I think people are okay with this. Any further discussion? If not seeing any, will the clerk please call the roll and vote on this bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the motion was ought to pass on House Bill 629, offered by myself and seconded by Representative Cambrels. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
Wyler's not here. Eagle's not here. I'll vote yes. Representative Munns.
Yes.
Representative Rung.
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels.
Yes.
7-1. 7-1. 7-0.
Somebody,
Uh,
is your friend, your invisible friend?
Yeah. I was just looking up above and I saw 1 next to Carol, and I don't know why I said 7-1, but anyway, 7-0.
Okay, so the vote is 7-0 to OTP. Thank you, and with that, we will close out the executive session on 629. Okay, I would next like to open up a work session on House Bill 1042, and I will recognize Representative Sweeney for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee recommend House Bill 1042 ought to pass.
Thank you, and I will second that motion. Would you like to speak to it, Representative?
Yes, thank you. And I don't want to speak exactly what I'll say at the full finance, but I do want to thank the executive director of BFA and the state treasurer for coming into our work session, providing a lot of details as to how this contingent line of credit works and how they've had 30 years without the state ever having to pay on a guarantee. They've maintained the loss rate under 1%. I really appreciate the state treasurer coming in and giving us the debt ratio and the calculations that she had, that this would not break that debt calculation, that the threshold that the rating agencies like to see of less than 10%, this still would not, even going up to the 400 million, would not break that 10% threshold. And with the knowledge that our friends on the other side of the wall are moving forward with an expansion of this up to $500 million, I like this tool as a better option for them to consider than when we get the $500 million expansion coming up. So, thank you.
Thank you for the testimony. Representative Rung.
I'm going to be voting against this. I think more than doubling this credit limit is increasing the exposure of the state. And I think it's too much too soon after the last raise. I also, when we were questioning the state treasurer, she did state that there's not an urgency for this. And we do have the bill coming over from the Senate, but I can't in good conscience raise this exposure to the state by $250 million. We're already at $200 million, which is adequate. And I just feel a fiduciary responsibility to protect the state from any undue risk that would really put us in an even worse revenue spot than we are now. Thank you.
Representative McGuire.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with both the representatives that we don't want to just assume that the Senate's 500 is enough. There were a lot of concerns, and I think presenting them with something that is ample for the BFA, but not as much as they started with, is the better position.
Representative Munns.
I also am going to vote against this OTP motion, and I'm going to follow Representative Sweeney's lead and not, share everything I plan to say in the full Finance Committee. But the gist of it is that, while I certainly believe that it's important for the state to do everything they can to support the economic development in our state, and while attracting new businesses is a very important part of that, I think we also have to look at some of the other challenges that we have, like housing infrastructure, education, and before we raise the limit on a program that is targeting specifically businesses, I think we need to look at all those other options as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Griffin.
Yeah, I have mixed emotions about this. I think it's, in some respects, it's a good thing, but I'm really concerned that the state could become liable, and in the case that they would become liable would probably be a deep recession where there were defaults. And that's not the time for the state to have additional burdens that affect that bond rate and everything. So I don't think I'm going to support this bill either.
Okay. I, for myself personally, I think that this is something that we need to do in the state, and I think that the treasurer, even though not taking a full position, indicated that it's probably a good thing for us to have a little bit more breathing room compared to what we have today. So I think that we probably need to have a little more discussion since we're missing a couple of members here. And what I'm going to do is put this bill aside. We will be having another work session coming up fairly soon. So I'd like to close the executive session on this bill and put it off to the next work session that we have, where I can get a full committee.
Yeah.
Say again.
This is a first committee bill, so it's due out for the 5th.
Okay, well, I'm going to postpone it until,
Yeah, and it's being heard for full finance later today.
later. I'm sorry, Jack. Could you repeat that?
It's on the schedule for full finance.
That's right. I forgot about that. So we do have to execute.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We do have a motion on the floor and a second. Can we just postpone it then? I mean, I think we have to vote on the motion on the floor, or have the person who made the motion withdraw it and the second withdraw it.
Yes.
I would withdraw my
Thank you
motion.
for that. Yeah. Okay. So if you withdraw your motion, then I'll withdraw my second, and we can just postpone executing this bill till at least after the next one. And I may take a recess between them to do a little caucus.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Representative Griffin.
when we do meet to discuss the bill again, I would suggest that we offer an amendment to lower the amount to maybe half of what is being requested.
Again, the problem with that is that we are going to be executing this at the full finance at 2:30. So we must act on this bill today here in division. Okay. So again, I'm going to close out the exec session on 10:42 to be taken up after we have a caucus, a little mini caucus, and we'll move on to the next bill.
Mr. Chair, could I just, I would be happy to work with Representative Griffin to have an amendment prepared for this afternoon, at least decreasing the increase to half of what is in the bill.
I appreciate that. Concern I have is that we have this room until 12 o'clock. That's what we promised, that we would get through this fairly quickly. I don't think there's any way we can get an amendment through, is there? No.
Yeah.
Is there is? Okay,
Yes.
is there? Representative Sweeney, I would just like to give you the opportunity as to your appetite for an amendment.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would look at any amendment that we have. I think the threshold needs to be an increase that will give them more flexibility and liquidity to attract those new businesses, but also, to make the sausage out in public, what are we going to come with the Senate to? What are we going to go to the Senate with when they've already passed the 500 million? So it might be more of the beginning of negotiations that we might want to look at this bill as. So,
One minute, Representative Leachman first, and then.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So Representative Sweet, wasn't the vote in the Senate unanimous for the 500?
yes, the Senate unanimously voted yesterday to pass the 500. I don't know if it's going to a second committee in the Senate. It's going straight to us.
Yep.
So they unanimously voted to raise it up to 500. Again, I'm happy to work with where we want the threshold to be below that. I mean, this bill has it at 450.
Yeah, so I was not aware of that vote, so I'm glad you mentioned it. I would say that if we know that the Senate has unanimously put forth 500, then 450 is a compromise and that we could move ahead with this, but I'm just throwing that out there. Representative Munts.
Jack, the vote in the Senate, that was only in the committee, right? It was unanimous in the committee?
It was on the consent calendar.
It was
so
on the
the voice
consent
vote.
calendar?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so basically, the point is it's gonna fly through at 500. At least we would have this in the back pocket at 450, so. Let me take up the next bill and then we'll come back to this, okay? Okay, so I'd like to open up a work session, an executive session on House Bill 1411. And I'd like to recognize Representative Griffin for a motion.
Yes, I'll move ITL on this, sorry, I don't have the mic on. I will move ITL on House Bill 1411, FM. And I can speak to that if you.
Please do.
Right, this, the majority of the funds that the state sends to Washington consists of the employer's share of FICA and Medicare, and the employee's share of both of those, plus the employee withholdings. Now, just for the state to withhold their share, there are serious onerous interest and penalties. But as far as withholding remittance of funds withheld from employees, that is a criminal offense. It is a felony. And I would argue that anyone supporting that is guilty of encouraging a criminal offense. This bill should be ITL and lost forever.
Thank you. Any other, Representative McGuire?
Yes, thank you. That was the information we got at the work session. And nobody seems to know what other payments we give to the federal government other than those withholdings. And the money goes the other way. Individuals send it to Washington, they send it back to us. We don't have anything we can sensibly hold on to pressure Washington. So I think this bill was attempting to make a statement, but it wouldn't be an effective.
Any further discussion? Representative Rung.
I'm going to oppose the ITL as I would like an alternative motion of interim study to come into play. I think the issue of the federal government withholding funds, I think it's a worthwhile area of study from us because it's not just something that was spelled out in this bill as far as funds withheld by executive order. But I'm looking what's going on in Merrimack now, and we're facing losing over $529,000 per year in lost property taxes from the proposed ICE facility. And we're not sure if we're going to get any money back to make up for that. And so I'd like a real study this summer to spend some time studying the monies that the federal government should be owing us and that we're entitled to, and to study what avenues the state can take to ensure that they get that, so they're not holding the bag, because Merrimack is going to be holding the bag if this ICE facility goes into operation.
Any further discussion? Representative Griffin.
There's nothing in this bill that mentions an ICE facility or anything else. This bill says, under certain circumstances, which is the government withholds money from us, we will withhold money that we are committed to send to the federal government. Someone may have put this forward hoping for a discussion about other items, but that isn't what the text of the bill says. We have to look at the bill, the text of the bill, and in this case, it's just wrong. You know, it's just we can't do that.
Thank you. Representative McGuire.
Yes, and to be honest, studying how the federal government owes us money is something that we can look into without a bill. We don't need a formal bill to say we're concerned about how much money comes into the state or to localities that are affected by actions of the federal government. I mean, education funding is sweating over special education, which is another example of the same thing. This bill doesn't look like the right vehicle to study that, because it's the issues of the federal government telling us to do things and then not funding it is much wider than this particular bill.
Representative Run.
Well, I would just add that we amend bills all the time. We amend them even with non-germane amendments that come up through a study. And I think this bill, although I have problems with as it's written, I think it provides us an opportunity to have a discussion so that come late fall, we would be prepared with another bill, not this one, but something that goes in deeper to those issues, like the lack of federal government fully supporting the mandate for special education, like the lost tax revenue when they come in and take property from a local community. I mean, there's so many examples of how we get the shaft from the federal government because they don't fund their mandates. And I think an interim study can take this bill as a springboard to have that discussion and hopefully come up with something specific for the next term.
Thank you. Any additional? No. Okay, not seeing any hands. Will the clerk please roll call the vote on House Bill 1411?
Okay, the vote on 1411, motion was offered by Representative Griffin, seconded by Representative McGuire for an ITL. Representative McGuire,
Yes.
Representative Griffin,
Yes.
Representative Sweeting.
Yes.
I will vote no. Representative Munns,
No.
Representative Rung,
No.
Representative Cambrels,
Yes.
4-3. ITL.
Okay, so with a vote 4-3, we will ITL House Bill 1411, and I will close out the executive session on 1411. Okay, so what I think I'd like to do at this point is I'd like to call for about a 10-minute recess so that the Republicans can caucus and the rest of the committee can go take a break. And when we get back, we'll see if we can continue the executive session on House Bill 1042. Thank you. We're in recess.
So you can open up the meeting. Once you use the mic, that's
Okay.
their cue to turn the video back on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I would like to reopen the work session, and we're going to open an executive session on House Bill 1042, which is the bill that raises the unified contingent credit limit applicable to New Hampshire Business Finance Authority projects and programs. Now, what I would like to do is introduce an amendment, and that's, you should have a copy. It's Amendment 2026-0856H. And I would like to introduce it with one change, and that would be that the total figure at the very last line, line 10, would be changed from 450 million to 400 million. So I'd like to lower that by 50 million. And with that change, I would like to make a motion to OTP that amendment. Okay. So I think that this is a good compromise. We've already heard that the Senate has pushed forward a bill for 500 million. I personally don't believe that that's going to fly on the House floor. This is a good compromise because we know we're already scraping up against the cap, and we've already lost one potential business coming to New Hampshire, but because we were too close to the cap limit. This will give us some more breathing room and allow us to continue, the business engine in New Hampshire, continue to give us that New Hampshire advantage. And with that, I will take any other testimony. Okay, seeing none. Can we do a show of hands on the amendment? So all those in favor? Okay, so, and those again? Oh, okay. No, I believe it's 7-0. Yes, he is okay with it. Yes. Thank you for that. So with the amendment passed, I would like to make now a motion to OTPA House Bill 1042. Seconded by Representative Sweeney. Any further discussion? Representative McGuire.
Yes, thank you. This amendment started out as something to keep the history of the increases, which when we've had the full committee work session, I thought was important so we can see what's going on. Inflation is killing us. And it also picks a more reasonable level of loan guarantee than the original. It's within what the BFA said they needed and what the treasurer seemed to be more comfortable with. So I'm glad we thought of it.
Representative Munns.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While I supported the amendment, I will continue to oppose the OTPA for the reasons that I had mentioned earlier.
Fair enough. Thank you. Representative Rung.
I appreciate the willingness to compromise on this very much, and I will support the OTPA. I think lowering the state's risk by 50 million is it's better than having it be 50 million greater. So I will be supporting the OTPA.
Thank you. And in a sense, it gives us a little bit of breathing room against the Senate bill, which would be 100 million more. So any further discussion? Okay. Without seeing any further questions, will the clerk please call roll call vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On your motion about to pass as amended with Amendment 0856H, seconded by Representative Sweeney. Representative McGuire.
Yes.
Representative Griffin.
Yes.
Representative Sweeney.
Yes.
I will vote yes. Representative Munns.
No.
Representative Rung,
Yes.
Chairman Cambrels,
Yes.
6-1, to pass as amended.
Okay, so with a vote of 6-1, we will OTPA House Bill 1042. And with that, I will close out the executive session on House Bill 1042. And I believe we're done and we can close out this work session. Yeah, there is, yeah. Hey, thank you, everybody, for being brief and.
Rosemary, we only like occupy the front end of this, so you can leave this stuff over there.